They control everything from the economy to the weather, media, politics, celebrities, and religion. They are the richest and most powerful people in the world. They're also an alleged secret society known as the Illuminati. And if you've been watching certain videos, then you probably think that they're running a global scam to strip us of our freedom and money. But are they real? For some background, we have to go back to Bavaria in 1776. The state was ruled by a king at the time, and the church had a lot of influence over how things were run. You know where this is going. A group of men led by Adam Weishaupt wanted to start a club where they could discuss philosophy, morality, and other abstract concepts away from the prying ears of the king and the church. I mean, sounds like the Freemasons, right? Not quite. This group would become known as the Order of the Illuminati, or the Bavarian Illuminati for short. Their goal was to replace the old order with Enlightenment rationality and get rid of superstition and religious influence in the public sphere. They believed in separating church and state and used their early success to expand into other areas of Bavarian society, such as the courts and local government. Now, the Illuminati didn't want to be too flashy about things, because that could bring unwanted attention from the authorities. So instead of holding meetings in abandoned warehouses, they decided to pretend they were a social club. Members of the club wore white gloves and aprons and met at taverns and restaurants, so they could blend in with everyone else. In fact, they were even able to bribe a local baroness to let them use her house as a meeting place. Of course, not everyone was happy about this new group of party poopers, and the Bavarian government started to crack down on them in 1785. By 1787, the Illuminati were completely shut down. Now, here's the thing. While there's no debate that the Bavarian Illuminati existed, historians disagree about how big of a deal they actually were. One argument is that the Illuminati never really amounted to anything more than a few dozen discontented men, and that their purpose was more symbolic than anything else. They wanted to inspire change through their writings, rather than forcing it through political means. Others argue that the Illuminati were actually quite successful, and infiltrated many parts of Bavarian society, though there's no proof either side is correct. The Illuminati did write several books explaining their goals and how to achieve them, but those works are quite vague and open to interpretation. For example, one of their main goals was to abolish all privileges based on birth and replace them with a meritocracy. Now, does that mean they wanted to overthrow the government and institute a communist state? Or simply put an end to the nobility system and allow commoners access to positions of power? It's up to you to decide. Anyway, when the group was disbanded, its members went their separate ways and the organization itself seemed to disappear into thin air. Or did it? Well, that depends on whether you believe that the Illuminati survived for centuries in secret and waited for the right time to strike again. Some claim that after being outlawed in Bavaria, the group simply went underground and operated in secret. Other groups began to spring up around Europe and eventually the United States, each with the same goal of bringing enlightenment to the masses. These groups followed the same basic guidelines set forth by Adam Weishaupt: secrecy, a hierarchical structure, and a focus on education. It's important to note that none of these groups claim to actually be the original Illuminati. Instead, they use the name as a way of paying homage to the ideas of the original group. Regardless, the myth of a continuous organization persisted and only grew throughout the years. In the early 20th century, the theory that a group of bankers and politicians were working together to form a new world order became popular. This conspiracy theory claimed that this cabal was actually the Illuminati in disguise, pulling the strings behind the scenes and manipulating world events to their advantage. The theory took off thanks to a man named John Coleman, who wrote a book called The Hidden Roots of the New World Order. In it, he claimed that the NWO was started by the Rothschild banking family in 1815 and was composed of the richest and most influential families from around the world. According to Collins' research, the Council of 300, composed of 300 men from 30 different countries, is at the top of the pyramid. Beneath them are the Bilderberg Group and the Trilateral Commission, which are controlled by the Council on Foreign Relations and the Royal Institute of International Affairs, respectively. At the bottom of the pyramid, are various NGOs, think tanks, and media organizations that help spread the New World Order's message to the public. But what exactly is their goal? Well, according to Colin and others who believe his theory, the NWO wants to create a totalitarian one-world government in order to bring peace and prosperity to the world. Sounds nice, right? Well, it comes at a cost. The Illuminati would need to strip all nations of their sovereignty and turn control of the economy over to a small group of bankers and politicians. Civil liberties would be restricted, and dissent would be silenced. If it sounds familiar, that's because it's been a staple of the Illuminati narrative, ever since the Bavarian Illuminati were shut down. In fact, that idea has seeped into pop culture and helped to spawn countless conspiracy theories, including the reptilian conspiracy, which claims that the Illuminati are actually an alien race disguised as humans, and the idea that they're trying to create a new world order. That theory is extremely popular and has been referenced in TV shows, movies, and music. The rap song Illuminati by Jay-Z and Kanye West is a great example of how pop culture has embraced the Illuminati narrative. In the song, Jay-Z boasts that he and his fellow rappers are part of the Illuminati and have the world under their control. It's obviously just a boast and a reference to how influential rappers have become, but it plays into the broader conspiracy theory that the Illuminati are controlling everything that happens in the world. But is there any truth to any of this? Well, as far as the original Bavarian Illuminati, it's hard to say. The group accomplished their immediate goals of ending the nobility system and promoting Enlightenment ideals, at least in Europe. However, their long-term goals of creating a meritocracy and ending religious influence remain largely unfulfilled. That doesn't mean that their ideas didn't live on, however. Many secret societies that came after the Illuminati adopted their ideas and structure, including the Freemasons. And the narrative that the Illuminati are secretly running the world and controlling everything that happens has become extremely popular. As for whether or not the Illuminati actually exist today, that's impossible to say. There is no verifiable evidence that the Illuminati continued on after being disbanded in Bavaria. Even John Coleman admitted that finding proof of the Illuminati's existence was akin to finding Bigfoot, because nobody can actually prove that they exist. Nevertheless, the conspiracy persists, and many people still believe that the Illuminati are out there, waiting in the shadows to take over the world.